All right, the Detroit Lions draft Tyleik Williams, defensive tackle, late
Yep.
in the first round. Somebody we just didn't really have on the radar. We were kind of looking at some of these other players that we were almost surprised that were still available. Then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, we take a defensive tackle. So, Craig, your first impressions of this dude from Ohio State?
Yeah, I think as first impressions are this dude's an absolute tank.
Mhm.
I think Brad Holmes likes to surprise us. And when we were doing the live show, it's funny. Somebody commented, like, I think it's funny how we're always a little disappointed with our picks.
Yeah.
And it's true. And it's just because Brad Holmes does his homework more than us. We're sitting here thinking about, oh, there's a couple players that are falling, and those would be great players to go to the Lions. And we're not thinking in the moment, there's a reason they're falling.
Yep.
And Brad Holmes is saying, no, there's another guy out here that's actually better, and I'm going to take him. And I firmly do believe Tyleik Williams was that guy. What would you say is your favorite thing about him, and or just this pick overall? Do you like it? Would you grade it well? What's your thoughts?
We talked about it consistently was you have to address the trenches. That doesn't matter what team you are. Teams are looking for the trenches because you cannot find these guys in free agency. And so you can never be mad about the trenches. And then the second thing is we if you really look at our roster, it's like, gosh, we really don't have a D tackle. Where on the offensive line, we've got the guys. We'd like more depth. We'd like more things there. But defensive tackle wise, with Aleem McNeil going to miss, let's say, half the
There it is.
season,
Yep.
DJ Reader's older. I think we got lucky with DJ Reader last year. I would be shocked if he stays as healthy as he does.
You think it's a ticking time bomb?
Yeah. So
Okay.
what if DJ Reader's not in there? Aleem McNeil's not in there, and now you're back to Pat O'Connor or something. It's like
It's Levi Onwuzurike, and even right now it's Reader and Onwuzurike. Like, that's not enough.
It's not enough. So I'm very happy. The more that I'm processing this, it's like, again, the picks could be so much worse. I'm not even saying this is a bad pick, but you could be taking somewhere. It's like, what? I don't get that at all. This is like, you can never go wrong with interior offensive line and interior defensive line, let alone the lines. But if it's like, I don't even know, I'm just going to take a blind pick and I take a center or a D tackle, you just can't go wrong. So I think I'm fine with it. Where are you at?
Yeah, I also know the hit rate of defensive tackles in the first round is really, really high. Like, there's certain things that you have to have. This is a guy, when I look at him, I'm pretty impressed, because when you look at him, he was a guy that when he admitted he let himself go during COVID, his senior year as high school canceled their football season. Dude got up to 360 pounds. Yep. Got himself back in shape, got into that controlled 225, 330 range, and was a very productive piece of the Ohio State defense. One of the things with Ohio State, we're Michigan fans, okay? And what Michigan has always been able to do is run all over Ohio State, and other teams were too. That's why Ohio State wasn't winning national championships. They won one last year, and part of the reason is because their defense was so good.
Yep.
And I think it's amazing. People forget how a very good run stopping defensive tackle can completely change a defense, right?
Yep.
We talked about this earlier. One of the biggest things that I noticed when you have good defensive linemen, your linebackers look so much better, right? They look so much better. It's the same philosophy on offense and defense. If you have a great offensive line, your running backs look better. If you have a great defensive line, your linebackers look a ton better. That's just
100%.
the way it goes. Dude, you just froze, by the way, for a second. It just looked like you were rolling your eyes at me the whole time. And I'm just like, hey, man, it's not that bad of a take. But it is good. And we got a linebacker as our defensive coordinator now. This helps linebackers more than just getting another linebacker. I think it does.
And remember, against Michigan, they had, how many goal line stops where we couldn't budge them?
Yep.
And then that same thing happened throughout the entire season for Ohio State, where they just, you couldn't run on this team. You couldn't get past. So they had other good players, of course, but defensively, this guy was a huge piece to their defense, and he's got a different look to him. Like, he does kind of look a little sloppy, but at the same time, he's that whatever. He's a he's huge. So it's like this.
Yeah.
What are you gonna? Yeah, what you want a big dude that's immovable. You pulled up that graphic earlier. He's immovable and he sheds tackles. That's what I want in my D tackle, and I this could be an anchor type pick for a minute here, and I think that's huge.
PFF, based on grades, talks about player traits, and he is phenomenal in 4 very important traits for a nose: is his balance and play strength, his anchor, his hand technique, and his block shredding or shedding. That's what's important. Look, pass rush moves, you can develop those. First step's not terrible. Gap shooting's not terrible. But other than that, like what you really want is these guys that play with this extreme anchor. And he absolutely has those availabilities. He just does.
Yes.
And it's not bad. He was tied for 6th in run stops. These are very good things. And he lined up mostly in the B or C gap. So and he graded out fairly well in those. I think it's a good pick. I don't have any problem with it. Everybody kept saying edge. What we keep forgetting is on defensive tackle. So on the edge, we have Hutch, right? He's going to be healthy when the season starts. At defensive tackle, we have Reeder, who's getting old, and we have McNeil. After next year, it's just McNeil. There needs to be depth at defensive tackle too. This is a guy who fits a problem now, so it helps us get by to win now as McNeil gets healthy, and then next year as a DJ Reeder replacement.
Yep. And I just think, I know we want a defensive end, but because it's like we drafted Hutch and look at what happened. He's unbelievable. There's not those DNs that have just fallen to us correctly since Brad Holmes. We just gone different directions. So
just Hutch.
Yep. So I think we'll take a flyer on, not a flyer. We'll take a defensive end. I mean, I'll be stunned if we don't. But I'm of all players in the world, I'm a big Marcus Davenport guy, which is like, why?
No way. Really?
Because I think
when he's healthy,
if he could stay healthy, you saw him in those couple of games, like, dude, he just bull rush and wreak havoc, and Hutch is going around. So cupboard's not bare there. And you know what? He gets injured play 2, and it is, but the cupboard's not bare defensive end, but it would be nice to grab a defensive end. Of course, we're going to. So, but in the meantime, this was a big pick, and I'm liking it more and more because you said it. When you really look at the defensive tackles, we don't have it. And you got to stop the run, and we're gonna stop the run. And then the edges, we're good. We've got Terrion Arnold. We got Enos Rakestraw, who's gonna hopefully be there. We've got Amik Robertson. We've got the safeties are all set. Linebacker depth's there. So this was Brad Holmes says he doesn't draft for need, but this felt like we needed this. And I love when need matches up, and I'm a big draft for need. We need it. Let's do it.
Yeah. And the fact is, no matter how deep you are with the salary cap era, there's always a need at almost every position. There is. Yeah, and we keep talking about the other need with edge. There's still a ton of edges available. Mike Green, Ezaraku, Scourton's still available, right? Landon Jackson, Swinson, Princely, JT, Jared Ivey, like all these guys, Josiah Stewart. Like there's a ton of people that are still available that, and we did this in a previous video. Edge day 2 made more sense to me. Interior D-line or interior offensive line made sense day 1. And that's what we did.
I'm good with it. I really am. And I just think it's because we were looking at some of those headliners that had fallen, and we're like, do it. And it's like, that happens every year. It just does. Well, I'm good.
Sounds good, man. Me too. Hey, thanks for any of you that are watching this that also watched our live. Got a ton more draft coverage coming your way over the next days and even into the next few weeks. All right. See you on the next one.
See ya.